All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Ever find yourself kind of daydreaming about, you know, a career where you could really dive deep into these fascinating subjects, shape young minds, contribute to like the
Yeah.
whole world of knowledge?
Yeah,
Well, then today's deep dive is for you.
absolutely.
We're exploring the pretty exciting path, I think, to becoming a university lecturer in Australia.
Ooh,
And our guide for this is academicjobs.com.
a great resource.
It's it's really a treasure trove of information for anyone who's an aspiring academic.
And it's not just about the intellectual fulfillment, though that's a huge part of it. The job market for university lecturers, it's really booming right now.
Okay, so spill the tea. What kind of growth are we actually talking about here?
Well, hold on to your mortarboards, folks, because academicjobs.com reports a projected growth rate of 16.6%. So this career path, it's not only intellectually stimulating, but also offers incredible job security.
Whoa, 16.6%. Talk about a future-proof career, right? But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's break down what it means to, like, actually be a university lecturer.
Right.
What does that day in the life look like?
Well, I think of it as a really dynamic blend of teaching, research, and a little bit of administration. You're not just imparting knowledge, but you're also kind of pushing the boundaries of your field and really shaping the future of academia.
So it's not just about standing at a lectern, delivering these brilliant lectures.
Yeah.
Though I have to admit, that image of, like, captivating a room full of eager students is, that's pretty appealing.
Oh, it's definitely part of the allure. But being a university lecturer, it goes beyond just the classroom. Imagine yourself poring over research papers, uncovering new insights, contributing to that ever-evolving body of knowledge.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued.
Yeah.
But let's get practical, all right? What steps do I, the aspiring academic superstar, what do I need to take to make this dream a reality? And luckily, it looks like academicjobs.com lays out a pretty clear roadmap.
Yeah, they do a good job. It all starts with a really solid foundation. And bachelor's degree in your chosen field. That's where you really build that core knowledge and explore your passions, your academic passions.
So if someone's just starting their undergraduate journey, what advice would you give them for choosing that right path?
I would say follow that intellectual curiosity. Choose a field that really sparks your interest because you're going to be spending a lot of time immersed in it. And remember, your undergraduate degree, it's just the beginning. To become a university lecturer, you've got to climb higher on that academic ladder.
Okay, so bachelor's degree. Check. What's the next rung on that ladder?
Postgraduate studies. A master's degree is usually the minimum, but a PhD is oftentimes that golden ticket, especially for those seeking those really coveted permanent positions.
Now, I know a lot of students get really overwhelmed by even the thought of a master's or PhD. Any tips on how to, navigate that whole process?
Absolutely. Think of this stage as an opportunity to truly specialize. Choose a program that aligns perfectly with your research interests and those long-term career goals. It's about diving deep into a subject that really ignites your intellectual fire.
So passion is key. And while you're kind of immersed in that world of postgraduate studies, academicjobs.com recommends also considering a graduate certificate in higher education. Is that something you'd agree with?
Wholeheartedly. It's like a crash course in teaching excellence, equipping you with the skills and techniques to become a truly impactful educator.
So it's about more than just, knowing your subject matter inside and out. It's about knowing how to, like, effectively convey that knowledge to others.
Precisely. A graduate certificate in higher education helps you to develop that teaching philosophy, really hone your pedagogical techniques, and ultimately become that master of student engagement.
This is all sounding pretty fantastic,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's not all just lectures and research papers. What about, real-world teaching experience? How important is that?
It's absolutely invaluable. Academicjobs.com really emphasizes the importance of getting your feet wet, through tutoring or teaching assistant opportunities during those postgraduate studies.
So it's about putting those pedagogical skills you were talking about to the test, like in a real classroom setting.
Exactly. Think of it as a testing ground for those teaching strategies and an opportunity to gain that valuable feedback. Plus, it adds some serious weight to your CV.
Okay, so we've covered the degrees, we've covered the practical teaching experience. What about the research? Where does that fit into all of this?
Ah, research. This is where you truly get to delve into the heart of your academic passion. You want to start working on that research portfolio early on. It's all about conducting original research, getting your work published in reputable journals, and even presenting at conferences.
So it's about contributing to like that ongoing conversation within your field and showcasing your expertise to the wider academic community. But, let's be real for a second. Research can be daunting,
Absolutely.
especially for someone just starting out.
It can feel really overwhelming at first. But you have to remember, every academic giant started somewhere. It's about taking small steps, seeking guidance from mentors, and embracing that learning process.
That's really encouraging to hear. So we've got the degrees, we've got the teaching experience, we've got the research portfolio. Are we missing anything?
Well, we can't forget about the cherry on top, the earning potential.
Oh, you mean that impressive average salary we mentioned earlier?
Hmm.
Oh, you mean the $115,000 that made my jaw drop? I haven't forgotten.
Right.
But seriously, folks, this isn't just about the money. This is about a career that is filled with intellectual stimulation, the joy of teaching, and just that thrill of discovery.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And with that projected job growth, you can be confident that this career path is both rewarding and secure.
Okay, so we've painted, I think, a pretty rosy picture so far.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic. Every job has its challenges, right? So what are some of the less glamorous aspects of life as a university lecturer?
Well, like any career, there will be deadlines, paperwork, and the occasional administrative headache. But I think the beauty of academia is that it really offers a unique blend of intellectual freedom and that structured responsibility.
So it's about finding that balance between pursuing those research passions, but then also managing those day-to-day demands of teaching and administration.
Precisely. And don't forget the social aspect. You'll be surrounded by like-minded colleagues, attending thought-provoking conferences, and constantly expanding your knowledge base.
Sounds pretty amazing, to be honest.
It is.
But before we get lost in daydreams of these, intellectual debates and groundbreaking discoveries, let's talk about the essential skills that are needed to really thrive as a university lecturer. And this is where you, dear listener, come in.
Ooh, exciting.
We're about to turn this into a little self-assessment.
I love it.
So grab a pen and paper and get ready to kind of reflect on those strengths and areas where you might, want to focus your development.
Good idea.
So first up, communication and presentation skills. Think back to a time when you had to explain a complex topic to someone who knew, absolutely nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
How did you approach it? Were you able to make it clear and engaging?
Because remember, as a lecturer, you're going to be standing in front of a room full of students, conveying those complex ideas in a way that's both informative and, dare I say, entertaining.
So, public speaking, that's a must-have skill.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not your forte, don't fret. There are tons of resources and workshops out there to help you hone those skills.
Absolutely. And remember, even the most seasoned lecturers are constantly refining those communication techniques. It's an ongoing journey of improvement.
Next up on our essential skills checklist is time management.
Ooh.
This one's crucial in any field, but especially in academia, where you're juggling all those different responsibilities.
So many. Think about your current schedule. Do you often feel overwhelmed or struggle to meet deadlines?
Yeah.
If so, it might be time to level up those time management skills.
And luckily, there are countless apps, techniques, resources available to help you kind of become a master of time management.
Totally.
And it's not just about being organized. It's about prioritizing tasks, setting those realistic goals, and learning to say no when necessary.
Very important, yes.
And of course, we can't forget about research skills. This is the heart and soul of academia. It's that driving force behind new discoveries and groundbreaking insights.
For sure. Do you have a knack for digging deep, analyzing data, and drawing those meaningful conclusions? If research is your passion, that fire will definitely shine through in your work.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to make a discovery that changes the world.
You never know. The possibilities are endless.
Finally, let's talk about adaptability. The world of academia is constantly evolving. You have new technologies, new pedagogical approaches, new research trends. It's always emerging.
So true.
Think about your teaching style. Are you open to incorporating those new technologies, those new techniques into your classroom? Are you able to kind of adjust your approach to meet the needs of these diverse learners?
Because the more adaptable you are, the more successful you'll be in navigating that ever-changing landscape of higher education.
It's all about embracing that lifelong learning, both for yourself and for your students.
Absolutely.
So we've covered those essential skills, but how do you actually take those skills and translate them into, a successful career? How do you climb that academic ladder and reach that pinnacle of success?
That's where the strategic game of career advancement comes in.
Okay.
And luckily, academicjobs.com provides some excellent tips for long-term success in academia. And first up, publishing in academic journals.
So it's like earning those stripes in the academic world.
Hmm.
The more you publish, the more you kind of establish yourself as that thought leader and that expert in your field.
And it opens doors to exciting opportunities like presenting at conferences, collaborating with those renowned researchers, and even securing those research grants.
Next up, securing that coveted tenure. I know this is a big one in the academic world. Can you shed some light on what tenure actually means and why it's so important?
Absolutely. Tenure is like reaching the summit of Mount Academia. It provides job security, academic freedom, and that opportunity to truly delve into those research passions without the pressure of constant job hunting.
So it's like a badge of honor,
Definitely.
recognition of your expertise and your contributions to the field.
For sure.
But I imagine it's a long and challenging road to get there.
It definitely requires dedication, perseverance, and a commitment to excellence. But those rewards, both professionally and personally, are immense.
And finally, for those who dream of sharing their knowledge with a wider audience, there's always that option of publishing your own books.
Oh, yes.
Imagine seeing your name on the cover of a textbook or, a scholarly work that influences generations of students.
Oh, that's the ultimate legacy for an academic, a way to share your expertise with the world and leave that lasting mark on your field.
Okay, so I think we've officially covered, the A to Z of becoming a university lecturer in Australia. We've explored the roles and responsibilities, the qualifications you'll need, the average salary and job growth. Did I mention it's $115,000?
It's amazing.
We talked about the working conditions, the essential skills for success, and even some strategies for climbing that academic ladder.
Clear. That was quite a journey. But don't worry, we're just getting started.
That's right. We still have plenty more to unpack in part 2 of our deep dives. Stay tuned, because we're going to go even deeper into this fascinating world of academia.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of academia.
Mm.
We've laid the groundwork, but now it's time to really zoom in, I think, on what a university lecturer actually does.
Yes, let's get into it.
Let's break it down, drawing from the role of a university lecturer section on academicjobs.com.
It's a multifaceted role, that's for sure. We've touched on teaching, research, and administration, but let's explore those in a bit more detail.
Perfect. I'm ready to trade in my podcasting microphone for a lectern, at least in my imagination.
Well, first and foremost, a university lecturer is a teacher. They're responsible for developing and delivering engaging course content.
Okay.
And this could be through, traditional lectures, interactive seminars, hands-on tutorials, or even, online learning platforms.
So it's not just about standing at the front of the lecture hall and reciting facts, right?
It's definitely not. It's about creating a dynamic and inspiring learning environment, one that caters to different learning styles, encourages active participation. It's about sparking curiosity, fostering critical thinking, and really empowering those students to become lifelong learners.
That sounds incredibly rewarding.
It is.
But I imagine it takes a special kind of skill set to not only be an expert in your field, but to also be able to effectively, convey that knowledge to others.
You're absolutely right. And that's where those pedagogical techniques we mentioned earlier really come in. A good lecturer is not only knowledgeable, but they're skilled in that art of teaching.
So it's about understanding how people learn best and then tailoring your teaching methods to meet those needs.
Precisely. It's about finding those creative ways to make complex topics accessible and engaging, whether it's through real-world examples, thought-provoking discussions, or even maybe a touch of humor.
Okay, teaching.
Yeah,
Check.
right.
But we can't forget about that research side of things.
Of course not.
What does a university lecturer's research look like in practice?
Research, that's the lifeblood of academia, right?
Mm.
And for a university lecturer, it's about contributing to that ongoing conversation within their field.
Hmm.
It's about asking those questions, challenging assumptions, and pushing those boundaries of knowledge.
So we're talking about conducting original research, analyzing data, and coming up with those new insights that could potentially, change the way we understand the world.
Exactly. And that research often takes the form of, publishing your findings in those academic journals, presenting at those conferences, collaborating with other researchers, from around the globe.
It sounds like a pretty dynamic and exciting aspect of the job.
It is.
But let's be real. Research can also be incredibly time-consuming and demanding.
Absolutely. It requires a lot of dedication, perseverance, and a deep passion for your subject matter.
Yeah.
But the rewards, both intellectually and professionally, are immense. There's nothing quite like that thrill of discovery or that satisfaction of seeing your work published, in a prestigious journal.
And let's not forget that administrative side of things. Every job has its paperwork, right?
Right.
What kind of administrative tasks can a university lecturer expect to handle?
Well, think of it as the behind the scenes work that keeps the academic machine running smoothly.
Well,
It could involve attending those departmental meetings, contributing to curriculum development, grading assignments, providing student feedback, and even managing research
so
grants.
organization and time management skills are a must.
Absolutely. And remember, all those essential skills we discussed earlier, those aren't just theoretical concepts. Those are the tools you'll need to navigate those day-to-day realities of being a university lecturer.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a real sense of the multifaceted nature of this whole career path. It's a blend of teaching, research, and administration, all underpinned by, that deep passion for knowledge and a commitment to shaping young minds.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's a demanding but incredibly rewarding career, one that offers that intellectual stimulation, that sense of purpose, and the opportunity to really make a lasting impact on the world.
Okay, so we've delved into the nitty-gritty of the role, I think.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears a bit and talk about what it actually takes to land one of these
Yeah.
coveted positions.
Sure.
What steps can our listeners take to kind of start their journey toward becoming a university lecturer?
Well, the first step, as we mentioned earlier, is that solid foundation, a bachelor's degree in your chosen field.
Got it. So choose a subject you're passionate about, immerse yourself in your studies, and make sure to get good grades.
Exactly. And then it's time to level up with those postgraduate studies. A master's degree is typically the minimum requirement, but, a PhD often gives you that significant advantage in the job market.
Now, I know the thought of a master's or a PhD can be pretty intimidating for some.
Oh, for sure.
Any advice for students who are considering, taking that plunge?
Absolutely. Think of those postgraduate studies as an opportunity to really specialize in an area that fascinates you.
Sure.
You want to choose a program that aligns with those long-term career goals and one that allows you to dive deep into research that sparks that intellectual curiosity.
So it's about finding that perfect niche where your passion and your academic interests kind of intersect.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And remember, postgraduate studies aren't just about acquiring knowledge. It's about developing those critical thinking skills,
Yeah.
honing your research methodologies, and learning to communicate those ideas effectively within that academic community.
Now, while you're kind of immersed in that world of postgraduate studies, academicjobs.com recommends also considering a graduate certificate in higher education. Why is this particular qualification so valuable for aspiring lecturers?
It's all about bridging that gap between being an expert in your field and being an effective teacher.
Okay.
A graduate certificate in higher education equips you with the pedagogical skills and knowledge needed to really excel in that university setting.
So it's about understanding how to create those engaging lesson plans,
Yeah.
how to develop effective assessment strategies, and how to foster a positive and inclusive learning environment.
Exactly. It's about becoming that master of student engagement, and that's a skill that will serve you well throughout your entire academic career.
Now let's talk about that real-world teaching experience.
Yeah.
How important is it to actually have some practical experience under your belt before you go applying for those lecturer positions?
It's absolutely crucial. Academicjobs.com emphasizes the importance of gaining teaching experience, through tutoring, teaching assistant roles, or even guest lecturing during your postgraduate studies.
So it's about putting those pedagogical skills to the test in a real classroom setting and getting that valuable feedback along the way.
Precisely. Think of it as a training ground where you can refine that teaching style, experiment with those different approaches and gain confidence in your ability to, engage and inspire those students.
And while you're building up that teaching experience, don't forget about that all-important research portfolio. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting to kind of dip their toes into that world of academic research?
My advice would be to start early,
Yeah.
seek that guidance and embrace that process. Research can be daunting at first, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Start by attending conferences, reading widely in your field to identify those research gaps and, those areas that spark your interest.
So it's about finding a research question that truly captivates you, and then diving deep into that literature to see what's already been done and what new insights you can contribute.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to reach out to potential supervisors or mentors for, that guidance and support. Collaboration is key in that research world.
And remember, research isn't just about solitary study in a library.
No.
It's about engaging with that wider academic community, presenting your findings at those conferences, and getting your work published in reputable journals.
Absolutely. Publishing that research is essential for building your academic reputation and demonstrating that expertise to potential employers.
Okay, so we've covered the degrees, the teaching experience, the research portfolio. What happens when you finally feel ready to take the plunge and start applying for those coveted lecturer positions?
That's where the strategic game of job hunting comes in.
Okay.
And luckily, academicjobs.com is an invaluable resource for navigating that academic job market.
Mm-hmm.
They have a comprehensive database of lecture positions, across Australia, from those entry-level roles to those senior positions at those prestigious universities.
So it's like a one-stop shop for aspiring academics.
Exact.
But I imagine that the competition can be pretty fierce, especially for those really highly sought-after positions.
It definitely can be. That's
Yeah.
why it's so important to really put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
Crafting a stellar CV that really highlights those skills and experience, tailoring that cover letter to each specific position, and, preparing for those all-important interviews.
Speaking of interviews, what tips would you give to someone who's about to, face a panel of seasoned academics?
Preparation is key.
Okay.
Research that university, that department, and that specific position that you're applying for. Think about your research interests and how they align with that department's research priorities. Practice those answers to those common interview questions like, tell me about your research, what are your teaching strengths, and why do you want to work at this university?
So it's about showcasing not only your expertise, but also your passion for teaching and your understanding of, that university's academic culture.
Precisely. And remember, confidence is key.
Mm-hmm.
You want to believe in yourself, let your enthusiasm shine through, and don't be afraid to ask those thoughtful questions of your own.
This is all fantastic advice.
Thanks.
But let's say you've aced the interview. You've landed that dream job.
Congratulations.
You're officially a university lecturer. What happens next? How do you navigate those early stages of your academic career and set yourself up for success?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll delve into in that final part of our deep dive. Stay tuned as we explore those challenges and rewards of, establishing yourself as a university lecturer and crafting that really fulfilling and impactful academic career.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've journeyed through the qualifications, the skills, the job hunt, even the interview. But what happens after you land that coveted university lecturer position?
Well, that's when the real adventure begins. You've got your foot in the door, and now it's time to really establish yourself, build that reputation, and truly thrive in that world of academia.
So it's not just about coasting on those hard-earned degrees.
Definitely not. The learning and growth, they never really stop in academia. In fact, I'd say landing the job is just the first step, on a much longer and more rewarding journey.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What are some of the key things that new lecturers should focus on to really build a fulfilling and impactful career?
Well, one thing that often gets overlooked, I think, is the importance of networking.
Okay.
Academia is a surprisingly social field, and building those relationships with colleagues, both within your department and beyond, can be incredibly valuable.
So it's not just about what you know, it's about who you know. I have to admit, I didn't always think of academia as being particularly social.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It might seem like a world of, solitary research and those intense intellectual debates. But in reality, collaboration and connection, those are essential for success. Attending conferences, joining professional organizations, and even just, striking up conversations with colleagues in the faculty lounge can open doors to these unexpected opportunities.
So it's about building that network of support, mentorship, and even potential research collaborators.
Exactly. And speaking of mentorship, finding someone who's already kind of navigated those sometimes choppy waters of academia, that can be a real game changer. A good mentor can offer guidance, share their experiences, and provide invaluable advice on everything from, navigating those departmental politics to balancing that teaching and research.
A mentor is like having a seasoned academic guide, right?
Yeah.
Showing you the ropes and helping you avoid those potential pitfalls. Where can new lecturers find these all-knowing mentors?
Well, it can happen organically, through departmental connections, but don't be afraid to proactively reach out to academics whose work you admire or whose career path you find inspiring. Most seasoned academics are happy to share those insights and support that next generation of scholars.
That's really encouraging to hear. But even with a supportive network and a wise mentor, I imagine there are still challenges and setbacks along the way. Academia, it isn't always sunshine and roses, right?
You're absolutely right. There will be those moments of self-doubt, those research rejections, and that inevitable juggling act of balancing that teaching the research and those administrative responsibilities. But it's important to remember that these challenges are part of the journey, and they often lead to growth and resilience.
So it's about embracing
Yeah.
those ups and downs and recognizing that even the most successful academics have faced their fair share of obstacles.
Precisely. And remember, you're not alone in this journey.
Mhm.
Lean on your support network. Seek guidance from your mentors and never be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
That's such an important reminder. It's
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in that competitive nature of academia and
Yeah.
and forget that collaboration and support are those are key ingredients for success.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, the rewards of an academic career far outweigh the challenges.
Mm.
Imagine that thrill of seeing your students grasp a complex concept. That satisfaction of publishing your research in a top-tier journal and that joy of contributing to the advancement of knowledge in your field.
Those are the moments that make all the hard work worthwhile. It's about making a real difference in the world, both through your teaching and your research.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And let's not forget those perks of academic life.
Right.
The intellectual freedom, that flexible schedule, the opportunity to travel to those conferences and collaborate with colleagues from around the world.
It's a career that offers both, that intellectual stimulation and a certain degree of autonomy, which is a pretty appealing combination.
Absolutely. So if you're passionate about learning, you're driven to make a difference, and you're up for a challenge, becoming a university lecturer, that might just be that perfect career path for you.
And remember, our trusted guide throughout this whole deep dive has been academicjobs.com. They're the go-to resource for finding those lecturer positions in Australia.
That's right. Top local and global universities, they post incredible career opportunities on that site, making it that perfect place to start your search.
So what are you waiting for? If you're dreaming of an academic career, take that leap of faith. Start exploring those job listings, polish up that CV, and get ready to embark on a journey filled with intellectual discovery, personal growth, and the joy of shaping young minds.
We've reached the end of our deep dive, but that exploration of academia, it never really truly ends. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing those boundaries of knowledge.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Deep Dive. We hope you've enjoyed our exploration of this fascinating world of academia. Remember, knowledge is power, so keep diving deep.